How do I know it's recording?
It starts recording as soon as you click the button.
Okay, well, hopefully it just started recording. Hi, everyone. I'm Amy Teton. I'm the chair and program director of the graduate program at Truman State University, the Communication Disorders program. And I'll be joined by Dr. Edgar, who will introduce herself, and we'll talk you through some facts about our program. So Dr. Edgar.
And I'm Julia Edgar, also on faculty in the department here. And Dr. Teton and I share many of the responsibilities for teaching in the graduate program. So I'm going to start by going through on this particular handout some of the program strengths. We're going to go back and forth with some of these topics. So we've come up with our 10 points of strength here. One thing is that we are an accredited program. So we're accredited by the Council on Academic Accreditation and Audiology and Speech Language Pathology of the American Speech Language Hearing Association, which is a lot of words to say that we are accredited by the national organization that does certify speech language pathologists in the United States. We have some graduate internships that are full-time, full semester off-campus clinical experiences, so that at the end of your program, you have the experience of working as a full-time clinician under supervision. We have a well-qualified faculty. Our faculty have just an immense number of years of diverse experience in the field of speech language pathology and audiology. We have small classes, which allow us to have a lot of one-on-one interactions with the students. We have a lot of clients available to us in our in-house clinic here, and the clinic hours that the students get sets them up well for going on their internship. And we supervise our students very carefully. So we get lots of supervision, lots of feedback and suggestions that help our students grow. We're an attractive university clinic. The building is relatively new. It's about 10 years old, and it still looks great. And we have spacious therapy rooms and lots of materials to use in our therapy sessions. We have lots of good state-of-the-art equipment. And another point, I guess I could have used numbers. Number 8 is an opportunity to work with faculty on some clinical research projects. And then 9, we do use state-of-the-art technology with emphasis on technology as a partner in the client and clinician interaction. And we have excellent job placement for our graduates. So we have lots of good things in our 10 points of excellence.
And I would just maybe add a little to number 5 and number 6. With number 5 and the availability of clients, we do have a really good distribution of child-aged clients to adult-aged clients. And for the size of our community in Kirksville, we have really good cultural diversity in our clinic. We have an accent modification clinic with many of our international students on campus. We have a growing population of immigrants from the Congo in Africa, where their native language is French. And we often have some clients who speak, who are bilingual and speak both Spanish and English, or French and English. We also have a high number of Mennonite and Amish people in our community. And so we often get those clients in the clinic as well. And then with number 6, I always try to emphasize that it is the same people you see in the classroom who are supervising you in the clinic. That is not a practice at every master's program in communication disorders. So we believe that that's a big advantage, that we see you through the coursework and then we help you apply it in the clinic. Where many other programs, especially bigger programs, you have a clinical faculty and you have an academic faculty, and they do not mix. So that is one thing we like about our program here, and we want you to know. Okay, so program size is one thing I'm supposed to talk about here. I'm just going to scroll down. Our enrollment last year, we have about 150 undergraduate students at any one time, freshman through senior. And our goal is to admit 30 to 35 graduate students each year. We do have both fall and spring admission. So we hope to get 30 to 35 each year through those 2 admissions periods. Last year, we were probably a little lower than that, closer to 25. So when we say small classes, you're likely in classes of 25 or less sometimes. The graduate admissions criteria, we need to generally see that you've got a grade point average of at least 3.0. Sometimes we will review your application if it's a little bit below that. And we encourage you to explain any reasons you think may have played a role in your GPA being lower. Explain those reasons in your admissions essays so that we can get a good feel for you as a student. And if there's anything that we might not see right off the bat, to consider you a little more strongly. We do not have cutoff scores that we require on the GRE, but at this time we are still requiring the GRE. Mainly what we do is we look for how many subtests you have scored the 50th percentile or better on. And for everyone you've got hit that 50th percentile, you're given more points towards your application. So there's no minimum requirement. Just do your best to hit 50th percentile on 1 or 2 subtests, and it generally helps an average application look a little better. We do have you apply through CIDCAS now. We just started that last year, and I'm still learning some of the features. So if you're not hearing from us at a certain point, it's probably just because I haven't learned that feature on CIDCAS yet. So do please reach out to us if you're not hearing something. But I think if you just follow the directions on CIDCAS, you'll be able to apply quite easily. Applications, we technically do a rolling admissions process, but we do have a priority deadline for each admissions period. So for fall admission, if you get your application in now and submitted, rolling admission means we could look at that now. And generally, once we get a handful of completed applications, we will start looking. So the sooner you get it in, the sooner we look at it, the sooner you might have a decision from us. But that priority deadline of February 15th means try to get it in by then. That's when the bulk of ours will be there. And so you're more likely to get a decision in a timely manner if you apply by then. It also helps us plan for graduate fellowships, which are small awards, generally $500 to $1,000 per semester. And so getting everything in by the priority deadline is important for us deciding those fellowships. If you're applying for spring, the priority deadline would be September 15th. But again, everything is rolling. If you get your application in before your priority deadline or after the priority deadline, we're still going to look at it. All right, so the length of study and requirements. Typically, we have a 5-semester plan of study, and that gets you all of your academic requirements and clock hour requirements. I will say that spring admission is a little bit different. Fall is very easy to fit into that fall, spring, summer, fall, spring. But if you are admitted in the spring, you would do spring, summer, fall, spring on campus for your academic coursework. And then your internships would begin in the summer. Well, we can't get you a school internship in the summer. So if you start in the spring, it does require another half semester into that 6th semester to complete everything. So just want you to be aware of that. Students still get jobs. Sometimes they'll apply to be an SLP assistant for those last 8 weeks of the semester until they graduate. and they're already getting set in with a person that wants to employ them as an SLP once the degree is stamped in December. So 5 semesters for a fall start, 5.5 for a spring start. Clinical practicum is required every semester you are here. During that final semester, you are doing an 8-week internship in a public school setting and an 8-week internship in a medical setting. And there's another video posted that will tell you more about clinic. The clinical process commentary, number 3, under length of study, is something pretty unique to Truman. So I always spend a little bit of time on this. And this is our alternative to comps. So many years ago, we used to have students sit down and write essays all day about what they knew about our scope of practice. And it turned out that we didn't think we were learning anything else about our students that the praxis wasn't telling us. So we wanted to do something different and more clinically applied than a sit-down essay test. So several of our former faculty members came up with the clinical process commentary, or CPC. This is a multi-part process where in your first semester, you'll be assigned 1 or 2 clients in the clinic. You will then create a presentation based on one of those clients. For your second semester, you deliver that presentation to your peers and to the faculty. And you're basically giving us a case presentation about that client. You're telling us why you made the clinical decisions you made. You're telling us what you think your clinical strengths are at that point and the areas you hope to grow in as far as being a clinician from that point forward. After your presentation, you will review your presentation. We record that. And then you reflect on all of that stuff, your presentation, how you presented, the content of your presentation, how you're doing as a clinician, and you write a paper that several faculty members then read, and they meet with you to talk about your overall strengths and areas for growth. And then we create a CPC 1 plan for you with some goals on it. And your charge then is to work on those goals through the remainder of your program. So generally you have those goals by your second semester. You work on them through internship in that 5th or 6th semester. And then you come back during that last semester and give another presentation with a bigger paper where you reflect on your whole clinical process, your use of evidence-based practice, how you've grown on those goals. My predecessor used to say that your CPC goals are kind of like your very own IEP. We all should have goals that we're working on. And my take on it is none of us are ever done. We can all improve on things and have goals to move towards. So we just want you to be a reflective learner and reflect on your strengths and things that you can improve on throughout your career. Okay, so that's the CPC. And then part of another requirement of our program is that you take the praxis. You do not have to pass it to graduate, but our students pass it. It's very rare when someone does not pass it on the first try. So I will turn it back over to Dr. Edgar, who will take us through the next points.
All right. So next on our list is financial assistance. Dr. Teton's already mentioned in passing graduate fellowships, and that this paragraph focuses primarily on that. So we do have a limited number of graduate fellowships, and these are awarded in different increments of time. They, to be a graduate fellow, you have to have your application completed by the priority deadline to be eligible. And then depending on general need, you're assigned 2 to 10 hours a week. And then you work with a faculty member. Now there's another video on financial assistance or just general finances associated with graduate study. And there are many other points that are covered in that video. So I think for more detail, I would go to that. It's about 19 minutes long, and it talks about various costs and then also how they're paid for, which would include having a graduate fellowship and earning some money from that. The next on our screen here is a list of our full-time faculty. And I'm not going to go through each individual, but let you know that all of us in the faculty have a great deal of clinical experience, and as well as having studied at very good academic institutions. And so we bring a tremendous diversity to the department, which we then share with the students. So not only in the structured classroom, but also in our clinic supervision because of the clinical experiences that we have under our belt as well.
Okay, thank you. We're going to move down the page here. And I'll take you through these tables here. This is something that ASHA says we must inform any prospective student about. These are our completion rates and our employment rates and our praxis pass rates. So any program that you're looking at, if they're talking to you, they should be providing you with this information. It's also available on our website. Employment rate, we're pretty much 100% for people being employed within 1 year of graduation. If there's a year that we can't report that someone is employed, it's usually because we couldn't find that student. They just didn't reach out to us or return emails after we sought them out to know whether they were employed or not. So we probably are at 100%. We just can't say that for certain because we couldn't find a couple of people. The praxis pass rate, 100% every year. Again, we are not required to report the first time pass rate, but I could tell you probably in my 8 to 9 years here at Truman, maybe 3 people that didn't pass it on the first time and passed it the second time. So out of 9 years, that's a lot of students. And so it's again, just a requirement that you take it for graduation, and for certification, you want to pass it. And generally Truman students do that on the first attempt. The program completion rate here at the bottom, we're required to tell you this so that you know if we publish that it is possible to finish our program in 5 to 6 semesters, that students are indeed completing on time. And ASHA's requirement is that at least 80% are completing the program and completing it on time. So as you can see over here, our percentage is 90% and better every year. We do have some who take longer than usual, which we have to count against us in many situations if it's for academic reasons that they're taking longer. And then occasionally we have people who just don't complete the program for various reasons. If it's for more personal reasons, that doesn't count against us, but if it's for academic reasons, then it does. So we're still having 90% and better of our students completing the program and completing it on time. Some final details here on application deadline. We kind of mentioned this. The priority deadlines we mentioned. These other deadlines are more that rolling deadline, where even if you wanted to apply for fall past this priority deadline, you could apply up until June 1st, and we would still look at your application. So again, there you get a quicker decision if you apply by the priority deadline, and you get more consideration for the graduate fellowships if you complete by the priority deadline. So we encourage that, but if there's some reason that you need to apply later, these are the absolute deadlines up front here. And please note that we do not start any cohorts in the summer, so there is no summer admission to our program. And finally, as I mentioned before, the typical length of program with an undergraduate degree in communication disorders is 5 semesters, 5.5 if you start in the spring. And if you come to us with an undergraduate degree in another field, it generally takes 6 to 8 semesters to complete the graduate degree. And then I'll turn it back to Dr. Edgar.
All right. I get to tell you about research opportunities, one of my favorite things. And that is that we do offer a thesis option for those students who meet minimum program requirements. So we have a minimum GPA that the students have to meet, and they have to be on track with completing their other coursework. So they can choose to do a thesis. They select a CMDS faculty member to serve as their primary mentor, and then form a committee, design a study, implement the study, and report on the study. And there are some other informal opportunities to engage in research as well. And these opportunities are always in conjunction with the faculty member. So the student is mentored in that process. Both the thesis and I think other informal opportunities are well supported by the information that's conveyed in the research methodology course. So you also have coursework to support any of those actual endeavors that you may wish to pursue. And then just a few other points to wrap up the handout. The hours of graduate academic credit required is 47. And we also have on the handout how to apply. It's a centralized application service that we use. And the link is here. You have the basic materials listed. You need your transcripts, 3 letters of recommendation, a personal essay, and the GRE scores. And we have some additional information listed here that if you have other questions about the program, you to contact.
All right, so thank you, everybody. I hope that answers most of your questions. We do have several other videos that will be uploaded with this one on our open house website, so be sure to take advantage of those. That may explain some of these processes a little more in depth. Thank you.
And the handouts are available online.
Exactly. All right, thank you.
Bye.